Hey everyone, this is Ethan. Just wanted to pop in at the beginning of the episode today just to tell you that unfortunately this episode is going to be audio only here on YouTube. We did record the video but accidentally lost the footage, so unfortunately this is just going to be an audio episode, but part 2 of Antarctica next week is going to have video, so listen to this one and then you'll watch the next one in a week. And yeah, that's everything. So enjoy the episode and we'll see you later.
I'm Marissa.
And I'm Ethan.
And we are very excited to have you guys back with us. And we have another really interesting series of episodes for you guys coming up. And we'll get more into that later. But first things first, we want to just do the quick run through of all of our housekeeping. First thing, if you're watching us on YouTube, we have YouTube. If you're not watching us on YouTube.
If you're watching us on YouTube, we have YouTube.
So, surprise, surprise. We took our Christmas tree down.
If you're watching us on YouTube, I feel like where you were going with was subscribe and like the video.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
You started that and then started saying something completely different.
Yeah, I kind of got distracted.
Okay.
If you guys know me in real life, you know that I'm a very logical person, but I also kind of think tangentially. I go off into a lot of tangents.
Yes. What does that have to do with you being logical?
Like, people think, like, oh, if you're logical, your brain follows, like, a very linear pattern. My brain will follow, and then we'll just go off onto any tangent for, like, hours. And then, eventually, I'll sometimes find my way back to the original point.
Anyway, going back to the original point, thank you for watching us on YouTube.
Yes. Like this video, subscribe, turn on your post notifications, share us with your friends. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll notice our Christmas tree is gone.
If you noticed that it was even up the first time.
We had a Christmas tree. Now our Christmas tree is across the living room.
Because it's going to get put away today.
It's going to get put away today, thankfully, because our cats really like to try to eat it and pull off the ornaments. So, there's that.
What can you do?
What can you do? Nothing. Also, other social medias, we have Instagram. That's the place that we're the most active. It's Conspiracy Couple. We also have a Twitter, CC Podcast 22, and we have an email, conspiracycouple22@gmail.com. So all of those places are really great ways to get a hold of us, see updates on the show. We post pictures on our story on Instagram and on the main feed of the Conspiracy Cats, Nova and Domino. And, that's all I got in the way of housekeeping.
The house is kept.
The house is kept. Well, in this sense. Anyways, so we are going to dive right into our main topic for this week and next week. So, the theory that we are going to be discussing...
Well, you can't just say that and not actually explain what...
No, I'm getting into it.
Oh, it didn't sound like you were.
I was getting there.
Okay.
So the theory we're going to be discussing this week is a biggie. It's a doozy. And as I was researching and writing up my script for this episode, I was like, that is a lot. So I had no choice but to break it into 2 episodes. So we are going to have an episode, this episode, and I was like, we're gonna have an episode this week, but if you're listening, it's already out. So we're gonna have this episode, and then we'll release part 2 1 week from today instead of our usual 2 weeks, and then we'll be back on our
1 week from
schedule.
Sunday when we posted this episode.
1 week from when
depending on when you're listening to this.
Yeah,
if you're listening to this on like a Tuesday, it will be out on Sunday.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this 2 weeks from now, the second part is already out.
So, I guess this really only applies to people who listen like right when it comes out. But if you binge listen to us later, part 2's already out.
Yes.
But basically, this theory is so big because it centers around an entire continent and all of the mysteries surrounding it.
Australia.
No.
Dang.
usually we talk about things that are very, like, one subject. But no. Today, we're doing an
Yeah,
entire...
usually we talk about a subject, you're right.
Subject. Today we're not talking... We are. Well, anyways. We're talking about Antarctica.
You're all over the place today.
Yeah, I know. It's... My brain right now,
Well, you don't need to go on another tangent about your brain. We already went on one.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about Antarctica.
Okay.
Also, if you notice, I kind of have to say it kind of slowly because I'm having a really hard time saying it. I also couldn't...
Just mumble the middle, Antarctica.
I also couldn't spell. Every time I would type Antarctica, it would spell check me.
I don't think it's important that you pronounce the second C. Or the first C? The first C.
Antarctica.
And I think you could just say Antarctica. I think that's okay. Antarctica. I don't think it's not like people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, you're not saying the C.
Okay, well I think of like the Arctic. The Arctic.
Arctic. The Arctic. Yeah, that's kind of weird. The CT is a little weird. Arctic.
Yeah. Antarctica.
But I feel like when I say it, I say Antarctica. I just kind of ignore the first C.
I didn't know there was a first C.
You didn't?
No, until I was typing it and it gave me the red squiggly lines. And I was like, if I'm anything, I'm a great speller.
How would you have spelled Arctic?
Arctic.
So you thought they dropped the C for Antarctic?
I thought it was Antarctica.
But it's Arctic.
I didn't.
It's kind of the point.
Okay, I didn't put those two things together in my head.
Okay.
So I'm really curious. Do you guys say it Antarctica or Antarctica? Just to let us know.
I honestly don't know which one I say. I feel like I say Antarctica. Because I feel like I just kind of speed my way through the middle. We should move on.
Okay, anyways.
Not important.
We're going to be talking about all of the... not all of the theories, because...
I didn't even know there were theories about Antarctica.
There are so many. And if we talked about all of them, we could do like 15 weeks, but we're not.
Maybe we could do an entire year of podcasts on Antarctica.
We're not.
But we could.
Ethan, I usually answer the
year.
The theme is Antarctica. Anyways, I always ask the question, do you know anything about the theories surrounding Antarctica? But you already said I didn't know there were theories.
You have never asked me if I know anything about the theories surrounding Antarctica.
Do you know anything about any theories surrounding Antarctica?
No. I know nothing. Unless people think penguins are trying to take over the world.
That's not one of the ones that I came across, unfortunately.
Then no.
But we can start it.
Penguins.
We all know birds aren't real, and penguins aren't birds. Flightless bird.
Penguins aren't birds.
So therefore, they're not real either.
Penguins are aliens.
You heard it here.
You ever seen a macaroni head, a penguin? You think that just happens naturally?
What?
I don't know. Wasn't there a macaroni penguin or something?
A macaroni penguin?
Isn't there something like that? The ones with like the yellow coming out?
Aren't those king penguins?
King.
Macaroni penguin.
Macaroni. I don't know. I'm looking it up. It's loading. Yeah, macaroni penguin.
I don't believe that. That can't be the real thing.
It's on Wikipedia and oceanwideexpeditions.com, Britannica.com, biologicaldiversity .org. I don't know what that has to do with penguins, but yeah.
Biological? They're part of biology?
Oh, I guess that's true. The diversity threw me off, but
oh my God.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. I'll put a picture of a macaroni penguin right here. Or it might take up the whole screen. I don't know. But a macaroni penguin is going on.
Use that one.
I probably will.
You know what? It reminds me of the penguin from that Surf's Up movie.
Yeah, that is the penguin. You said king penguin. I don't think so.
Oh, he's in the one about the fish.
Yeah, what are you talking? I was not talking about a king penguin at all. Very different.
Okay, well.
Anyway, we've learned that Marissa knows nothing about penguins.
We've learned that...
Let's move on. We still haven't even got close to any theories.
Yeah, okay. So there are a lot of theories surrounding Antarctica. And as I said, we could probably spend a lot of time talking about it. But we're going to be breaking it up. So the problem here is that a lot of the theories kind of go into each other. Mm-hmm. So you might think, remember that from when we talked about this theory. So we're going to try and do a lot of like...
Do they think Atlantis is under Antarctica?
Okay, we're going to get there.
Is that one of the theories?
Yeah.
Ah, I did. So I did know something.
Yeah.
So why are you shutting me down when I say I knew something?
You said you didn't.
Well, I just thought of that.
Because I don't want you to spoil something. I have a
But
script.
you asked me if I knew anything, and then I realized I knew something.
Well, then we talked about macaroni penguins, and then...
This podcast is off to a rough start.
Anyways.
Hopefully part 2 will be better.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with a little bit about Antarctica Facts.
Skip right to the
Get to
theories.
know Antarctica, if you will. And I think...
Antarctica speed dating.
Yes. I think that this area is home to a lot of conspiracy theories because it's pretty inhospitable to human life. And for that reason, there hasn't really been a lot of exploration into it. It has extreme cold. It has extreme weather conditions. It has a huge amount of ice. And it's predominantly unexplored. I mean, we think of like Alaska, the last frontier. And we talk about how we haven't explored the oceans, we haven't explored space. Well, Antarctica is like...
I mean, but they've explored it, just not like on land. Like they know it's there.
It's difficult. So
we know it's there.
Get to know Antarctica with us. So Antarctica is the southernmost continent and is the 5th largest continent in the world. I was like, wow, that is so cool.
There's only like 7.
There's 7 continents. I was like, what an accomplishment.
The only ones smaller are... Is it North America? Is North America smaller?
I don't know what the order is because I'm not talking about all 7 continents. I'm just
well, obviously Australia is smaller.
Yeah.
Oceania is smaller.
Yeah. So the whole continent is covered in this huge sheet of ice, and some places are as deep as 3 miles of straight ice. And it's extremely cold. Its average temperature is negative 49 degrees Fahrenheit, and typically it has winds that are up to 200 miles an hour. So, negative 49 degrees, 200 mile an hour wind, 3 miles of an ice sheet.
Doesn't sound too bad.
The interesting thing is that Antarctica is actually considered a desert.
Yeah, it's a winter desert.
Yes, it's a winter desert. But
ice desert.
At the same time, it houses the majority of the world's fresh water in its ice. And it also has a really diverse ecosystem in the water surrounding it. So it's really inhospitable to a lot of land mammals, and any mammals that are there have pretty much been brought in. However, like the seas and all that kind of thing is really diverse, and all those creatures have really adapted.
Don't most penguins live on the South Pole?
Well, I don't know. I know there's a lot of penguins that live in Argentina.
I don't know if I would say there's a lot.
I remember that because of my high school Spanish, Senor Vargas talked about the pingüinos de Argentina all the time.
The greatest concentration of penguins is on Antarctica and sub-Antarctic islands.
We're learning a lot about penguins today. So, there you go.
They're aliens.
Because they don't exist.
No, they do exist. They're just aliens.
Yeah. So there's also a lot of really naturally weird things about Antarctica. There's something called the Blood Falls, which is, I'll post pictures on the Instagram, but basically it's
You can put pictures up here. We do have if you're watching on YouTube. But if you're not, then go
We're
on
going to do that. So basically, there's a waterfall, and the water that comes down from the waterfall is red, and it looks like blood. And the whole reason behind that is because of rust. The iron concentration in the water makes it look like blood, which is really cool, but it's also really creepy.
Well, that is very creepy.
Yeah, so the Blood Falls, we have the singing ice, which is a phenomenon where the ice makes this kind of like, it sounds like music that just comes off the ice.
That sounds like the sirens of like Greek mythology.
It kind of does, yeah. It's really cool.
Sirens were not cool. They lured people to their death.
They're like, I think they're actually pretty cool.
They lured people to their death.
They lured sailors to their death. They were beautiful women who sang and lured sailors to their death.
They were not women. They took the form of women. They took anyway.
I think that anyways.
Moving on.
And there's also
this is already going to be a 2-part podcast. We're making it longer.
There's also this like gaping hole in the ice that they don't really know why the hole is there, but we'll get into it. So yeah,
It's where the meteor hit that killed the dinosaurs.
So we have like a lot of weird things about the continent, and it's also unexplored because it's so inhospitable. So that lends itself to a lot of theories. And the continent has hosted a lot of explorations from nearly every major world power since the 1800s, with purposes like whaling, krill fishing, and more recently for scientific exploration. So the first person that is known to have gone to Antarctica was in 1853. And December 1st, 1959, we have a really major treaty called the Antarctic Treaty. And that was signed, which prohibited any country from using Antarctica as a military base or for military purposes. So basically, this purpose was that you will not use this area, you will not use it for your military. And in 1991, we have another treaty called the Madrid Protocol, which amended what was allowed there, prohibiting mining and requiring environmental impact reports to be produced prior to any new projects. And it also made Antarctica an environmental preserve. So currently, a few hundred to 1,000 people live on Antarctica on a massive research compound. So we have a huge research compound with a couple hundred people that live there.
Do you need a passport to fly to Antarctica?
Yes. So, interesting
It's
thing.
technically not a country.
Yes, it is.
It
It's
is?
a continent and a country.
But who's the ruling government?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I had a client, and when I was working as a weight loss coach, who was telling me that she was going to go on a trip, a cruise to Antarctica for her 60th birthday with her best friend.
A cruise?
Yeah, so you get on the cruise, so you fly to like South America, you get on the cruise, and the cruise takes you to Argentina, and then from Argentina you would fly on this little plane to Antarctica and stay at the research facility. She was quite wealthy. But yeah, I was like, you can go there? She's like, oh yeah.
That doesn't necessarily, but you didn't say she needed a passport to get there.
Well, you have to have a passport to get to South America.
Well, yeah, but I'm asking directly to Antarctica.
I feel like you would have to.
I don't know.
I mean, do you plan on going on vacation to Antarctica anytime soon?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I have a passport, so it doesn't matter either way, but
You're like, regardless, I can get there.
I'm curious.
So that's just like a really brief geography lesson with Marissa about Antarctica. And like I said, this kind of lends itself to a lot of theories. I mean, every other country has pretty much been explored except for Antarctica. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try and lay out these theories as best as I can. And we are going to kind of split it in the middle so that we'll have half of them in this episode, and then we'll do our opinions on these ones. And then the next episode, we'll do a quick recap, and then we'll do the rest. So the first theory is that Antarctica is home to proof that alien life exists, and is the home to an extraterrestrial base that the government is covering up.
It's home to proof?
Okay, so we're going to get into that some more.
Oh, so like they hid it there.
So we're gonna get into
it's
that.
an Area 51 type situation.
That's part of it.
Okay.
So we're going to start out with Google Earth. So this whole thing is partly due to Google Earth, which I think is one of the coolest, but also the creepiest bits of technology out there. Like, you type in your address to Google Earth, and it will show you your cars, and it will show you your house.
It doesn't show your cars, it just shows.
I Googled my old address in Google Earth, and I was like, that is my car. In
Well,
the
yeah,
driveway.
it depends on when the Google car drives by.
Makes me very uncomfortable.
But they blur out a
No.
lot of information.
My license plate number was right there.
It should have been blurred.
I was like, this makes me very uncomfortable. Literally any stalker could Google anything and they could come up with it. However, Google Earth is also cool because you can look at places like Antarctica.
Yeah.
So,
And GeoGuessr.
you have... Google Earth is also cool in that you can use it to look at like places you can't physically go to. UFO enthusiasts love Google Earth. So UFO enthusiasts were looking at Google Earth and they thought that they saw evidence of a UFO buried under the ice in Antarctica. So...
Isn't that where Captain America crashed?
I couldn't tell you.
I feel like it was.
Couldn't tell you. I like Captain America, but I...
Okay,
Anyways.
Anyways,
So some of these images that they have produced also appear to show an extraterrestrial itself in one of the stills from Google Earth. So, my question, who has that much time to just sit and look through Google Earth? Like, that's a long...
UFO.
That's a time commitment.
UFO enthusiasts.
Like, they just sit and just scroll.
Some people... Well, okay. People have made time to do a lot of different things.
That's so true. That is so true. Also, that's... I think the thing is, there's so much ice, so that lends itself to the question of what's under the ice.
Probably
so
water.
More ice. But in 2017, we had another bit of supposed evidence that pointed to this theory, in which conspiracy theorists posted an image of what they claimed was an alien spacecraft that was off one of the islands in Antarctica to a UFO page. So many people, myself included, who looked at the photo said that it looked pretty much like a big chunk of ice that had broken off. However, believers in this theory state that it does not match the typical pattern of icebergs, and that if it does look slightly like ice, that was intentional to blend in with the surroundings. So, skeptics and scientists attribute both of these instances to a phenomenon called Peridolia, which is when a person's brain tricks them into seeing familiar things in places such as rocks or land masses to attribute deeper meaning to those things. So, one of the biggest examples was this picture that came out from Mars, where people looked at the picture and saw, oh my gosh, there's a face, an alien face, on the side of this mountain in Mars. Well, when you looked at the picture again, when you looked at it at first, you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's a face. But when you looked at it again, you were like, oh, it's just a regular rock formation. And that's what this idea of Peridolia is that you look at something and your brain tells you that it's something else because your brain wants... Remember how we talked about in the Mandela Effect episode? Our brain creates patterns. It wants to see something recognizable. So Lake Vostok is a lake in Antarctica.
Really?
Yes.
I would not have guessed.
And it's the site of a number of conspiracy theories. And one of the theories is that this was a landing site for aliens who would come to Earth. So Lake Vostok is a frozen lake. It's completely frozen.
Well, it's in Antarctica, so it makes sense.
There are non-frozen lakes in Antarctica, though.
Boo.
And it had been unexplored for a long time, and it had recently been drilled into by Russian scientists. And that led to some drama, because remember the Madrid Protocol? Because the methods they used weren't exactly eco-friendly. And it is incredibly difficult to get access to investigate this lake. So apparently under this lake, there's some kind of a magnetic anomaly. And that leads people to believe... I don't really know what that means. That's not my area of science. And that leads people to believe that this could be because of alien tech that is frozen under the lake, such as an alien base or UFO, or even the remains of a lost civilization. So some theorists question whether there is still some kind of extraterrestrial civilization living under the ice of Antarctica, and that when they power up their city, it causes portions of the ice caps to break off and melt. So you might think, okay, well, how would a civilization live in Antarctica? So we have the ice, but we also have caves and caverns. So in those caves, there are different levels, and it goes kind of far down. So I watched this episode of Ancient Aliens, and that will be in the show notes as well. All of my sources will be. And one of the people on there said that, interestingly enough, due to snowfall, Antarctica is actually gaining ice on the majority of the continent, which, if true, is awesome. But that there is one section of the continent where we see huge chunks of ice breaking up and melting. You know those videos where they show like the glaciers and the icebergs and then like a chunk falls off and like...
Yeah.
So that's what they say is happening because there's this city that lives underneath Antarctica that powers up. And when they power up, the heat from their city causes these big chunks of ice.
So why is the city not always powered up though? Why would they...
I don't know.
Turn their city off?
Like, it's very weird. I don't really understand. Because
the entire city gets power for 1 hour a week.
But I'm thinking, like, they have this maybe, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to follow the train of thought here. But they think that this lake is a landing place for aliens. So maybe, like, when they come in or when they leave, that's what causes the powering up.
Okay.
That's just me trying to follow the train of thought.
Okay.
But I don't know how successful that was. So that's one theory. So another theory is Area 51 in Antarctica. So we have done an entire episode on Area 51. It was a long one, and it was our 5-episode special, which is really weird.
Our fifth episode.
Our 5th episode special.
Our 5. How is it a special? It was just an episode.
It was a special because it was our 5th episode. It was special to me. But it's weird because now we've had like 42 episodes. But anyways. So we talk about Area 51. It is in Roswell?
It's in New Mexico.
It's in New Mexico.
I think it's outside of Roswell.
And it's this like super secretive military base that people think houses
Most people know what Area 51 is.
Anyways, but people think it houses like extraterrestrial stuff, like tech or aliens themselves, or proof that the government knows about aliens and is hiding it from us. So, March 2018, a secret base was discovered in Antarctica that was called Area 122. So, journalists from New Zealand investigated the base and found that it was a laboratory that contained a ton of super old technology that was apparently built to study the ozone layer. So, this tech was like old. Like, old. And many people believe that the base actually contains more secrets than was revealed, and that it was actually a new version of Area 51. And theorists state that Antarctica is the perfect place to house any extraterrestrial secrets from Area 51, as pretty much no one except explorers or military officials can go to the continent anyways. So the thing is...
Area 51 is in Nevada.
Oh, it's Nevada. Roswell is where the Roswell
New
incident
Mexico.
came from.
Yeah.
Anyways. So the whole thing is, if Area 51, like, let's say it was compromised in some way, people think either there's a whole other base that has the same information in Antarctica, or it's a great place to move things from Area 51.
Why don't we take Area 51 and move it over there?
So basically that's the whole thing, is like, this would be a perfect place to store secrets. Because who goes to Antarctica?
But who are they keeping secrets from?
Because it's like, America isn't using this as a military power. Having a military base on Antarctica would then be breaking the Antarctica Treaty.
Right, no, I'm saying who are they keeping the secrets from, though? Because I'm like...
The world.
But all of the world has the exact same rights to Antarctica. So you'd like be running the risk that these other countries would be able to find this.
Mm-hmm.
And so either that means you're hiding it where they could easily find it, and that seems sketchy, or you're sharing all your information with every country and you're hiding it from the public. Either way,
like the
doesn't make
officials,
a lot of sense.
Like, you're either sharing it with the military official or the government officials from other countries, which could tie into the New World Order and the Illuminati.
Maybe.
Or, yeah.
It just, yeah.
Yeah, well,
It would make more sense if it was like a shared information of like extraterrestrial stuff between different countries. Yeah. But then in like, it just seems kind of weird that you're doing that, but not. I don't know. Maybe they just are like, we're not telling the plebes.
The plebes of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
only Jay-Z and Beyonce get this clearance.
Anyways, so another theory that kind of ties in with the alien theory is the theory that there are pyramids on Antarctica. So you might think, okay, so what if there are? That's really not a big deal. Apparently there have been pyramids discovered on Antarctica, and supposedly there was this expedition that discovered these pyramids. So in 2012, one of the first reports and images came out of what appeared to be a pyramid that had emerged due to the result of some ice melting that was covering it. So this begs the question then of whether these pyramids were the result of like natural phenomenon, natural snow and ice formation, or if they were made by humans. And if they were made by humans or some kind of pyramid building society, then the question is who? Because as far as we know, there have not been any human civilizations that have been able to survive in Antarctica. And there's the question of, was there an ancient civilization that was technologically advanced enough to make these pyramids? And if so, what happened to them? So one answer that conspiracy theorists suggest is that the pyramids were built by aliens who visited the continent at a time very far back in history when it was a more temperate climate and it was livable at that time. They created a colony there and they built these pyramids. And I could honestly do a whole episode on pyramids because conspiracy theorists and alien enthusiasts love pyramids. Like, I'm just like, okay, yeah, they're pyramids. Like, they're a structure. They're a tomb in Egypt, so what? But conspiracy theorists, like, they go hard in regards to pyramids. So I might do a whole episode on it. Like, there are at least 16 Ancient Alien episodes just about pyramids. So, we'll see.
You gotta make shows about something.
Literally, I was like, pyramids in this place, pyramids in that place. What do the pyramids mean? The spirits of the pyramids. I'm like, what?
I don't know.
Anyways, so this whole theory of aliens who created a colony is called the ancient astronauts theory. And that the continent was colonized by aliens a very long time ago, but that there was some kind of catastrophe that resulted in the area being completely frozen, freezing all of the settlements, and freezing the ancient astronauts. And the theory also reports that Antarctica has not been frozen nearly as long as scientists believe that it has been. So, remember how I mentioned the magnetic anomaly? Some scientists say that this magnetic anomaly confirms the idea that there is some civilization frozen under the ice, and that the remnants of this civilization create this magnetic anomaly. So this is actually really interesting. So there's a map that was made in 1531 called the Phineas Map that depicted a landmass that looked nearly identical to Antarctica. However, it was not indicated to be covered in ice. And this area had mountain ranges, it had rivers coming down from the mountain ranges, and it looked like, you know, a pretty cool, like, temperate place to live. The question is, as we know, Antarctica wasn't discovered or explored until the 1800s, which raises the question of whether explorers actually did discover Antarctica in the 1500s, and if so, how was it possible that it was not covered in ice? And was the map recent to the 1500s or was it older? So, some supporters of this theory speculate that the map was made using advanced radar technology, potentially by extraterrestrials. And that this man, who was credited with making the map, was given the map or somehow came into contact with the map after extraterrestrials made it. My question is, why are aliens making maps of Earth? I mean, the universe is so big. If I were an alien, I'd be like, been there, done that. Like, apparently aliens are super smart, so wouldn't they be bored? Like, mapping America, like, the United States, no.
The Earth?
Mapping the Earth. And wouldn't they be bored and be like, I want to move on to, like...
Maybe they did. Maybe they mapped the Earth and left, and then that map accidentally got left behind or something.
So that's the question, is did this guy Phineas make the map himself, or did an alien come upon it and give him the map, or does this map even exist? So, of note, one of the mountain ranges depicted on the Phineas map is identical to an actual mountain range in Antarctica.
I don't know.
So that's an interesting bit of information.
Yeah.
Okay, what do the majority of scientists say about the pyramids?
Boo.
The images are not pyramids, that they are just mountains that kind of look like pyramids. It's a completely natural phenomenon, completely natural explanation, and they harken it back to the idea of Peridolia. So, we got some differences here, but basically the question is, are these pyramids? How did they get there? What happened to the people who made them? So there's that.
And where was Ferb?
Okay. Okay, next theory is kind of a theory, but kind of it's scary. So this one is that there are ancient diseases hidden or trapped under the ice.
No thanks.
So apparently there is the potential that the thick layer of ice that covers the Arctic, there's something called permafrost, is a great environment for diseases to lay dormant, which means that they are still alive and have the potential to become activated. So permafrost is any earth substance that is frozen at a temperature at or below 0 degrees Celsius for 2 years in a row or more. And this substance could be anything. It could be soil, it could be sand, it could be, recently a woolly mammoth was found in permafrost. And the thing about permafrost is that it doesn't melt, it thaws. So ice melts, permafrost thaws, and when it thaws, everything that was frozen inside of it can come back to its original state. So, according to scientists, the thawing of the permafrost has began over the past 10 years or so. So, scientists believe that the diseases that are more likely to thaw and become active are diseases that affect DNA, such as smallpox, the bubonic plague, or the Spanish flu. However, scientists also state that with the rise of antibiotics, it would be likely that these would be easily treated. But one of the things that should calm our fears a little bit is that regardless of whether the diseases are alive when the permafrost thaws, they won't survive for long without a host, whether that be animal or human. However, there is the potential that animals would become hosts for a disease and then migrate to a new area, infecting the people who came across them or indigenous people who live in the Arctic. So, a nomadic tribe in Siberia, which is a very, very cold place, they were affected by an outbreak of anthrax that was released by ice caps melting. So, a teenage boy died as a result, as well as a huge number of reindeer. So, it's believed that the outbreak of anthrax was a result of a disease being dormant in a reindeer carcass that thawed over time. And scientists are apparently worried that there is the potential that there are a whole host of ancient diseases that are lying dormant under the ice, and that given the right conditions and if the ice melts, we could be faced with ancient diseases that current humans or animals wouldn't be able to fight off. And if you combine this theory with the other theories, the ancient or alien civilizations that lived on Antarctica in the past, and they could have diseases that are extraterrestrial that humans have never seen before.
It's true.
So there's science, but then combine that with the alien theory, and people are freaked.
Yeah.
People are a little freaked.
Yeah.
So we're gonna now talk about our last theory for this episode, which is the theory that the entrance to the hollow Earth is in Antarctica.
Ooh.
So the hollow Earth theory is another really big topic that I'm planning on doing a future episode or series of episodes about. But we're going to just give you a little bit of information in this episode so that you can kind of understand this theory, but not so much that it would overload your brain or it would spoil a future episode. So the hollow Earth theory was first proposed by Edmund Halley. Yes, the Halley's Comet guy.
Oh, I did not make that connection.
Oh, well, someone probably did that's listening. And he proposed this theory in the 17th century. And the theory essentially states that the inside of the Earth is hollow or empty, and on the inside and actually contains like multiple different livable sections inside of it, as well as a miniature sun inside the Earth at the center.
Doesn't sound very hollow then.
So it's hollow because it's empty. So like if you're
But it's not empty because it has a sun inside.
There's a little sun, and then there's different sections that people can live in. And we live in the shell, on the top of the Earth. And the shell is about 500 miles thick.
It's like we're living on a hot cocoa bomb. And inside there's... What? That's a good analogy.
But that melts. A hot cocoa bomb melts.
Yeah, when you apply certain things to it, yes. But I'm talking about a whole
So we live on the top of the hot cocoa bomb, and the hollow Earth is the inside of it.
And the inside where the
cocoa.
marshmallows and the cocoa are, yeah, is the inside of the Earth. And apparently that's livable.
Okay.
So if the Earth were to start melting, that would be bad.
That would be bad indeed. So, what do people think is inside the Earth? If the Earth is hollow and we have...
A little sun.
Besides the little sun. If the Earth is hollow and people can live in there, what's in there? Well, dinosaurs, for one. As well as a number of different societies, such as the Illuminati. Or aliens. So we got dinosaurs, the Illuminati, and aliens all together inside the Earth. Inside the hot cocoa bomb, if you will. And believers in this theory think that there are a lot of different entrances into the hollow Earth around the globe, and that one of them is Antarctica. So, why do they think this? So, a secret missing journal was left by naval officer Admiral Richard Byrd, who was a noted Arctic explorer. So, just a tip, remember the name Admiral Byrd, because he will be a very important player in one of our other theories in the second part of the episode. So remember Admiral Byrd.
Remembering.
So apparently the journal reveals his encounter with an ancient and hidden civilization that lives within the hollow Earth, in which the leader of this organization, simply called the Master, expressed that the civilization was concerned about the use of atomic weapons in World War II, and that they had sent messages to the government leaders of the world, but that no one had listened to them. Just an aside. Well, I have a couple things. The Master, if you guys watch Doctor Who, the Master is the Doctor's nemesis in a couple episodes. So that's literally what I was thinking of the whole time. Also, I haven't looked into this theory too much yet, but don't you think that, like, the leaders of the secret society living inside the Earth would want to keep their existence a secret? So why would they write a letter to...
Maybe they don't want to keep it a secret.
So then come out.
They're scared.
So they write a letter.
They're nervous.
Dear Sir Stroke Madam. Period.
Stroke?
Stroke.
Don't
you remember from the IT crowd?
Yeah.
When he's writing the email to the fire department?
I guess.
Dear Sir Stroke Madam. Period. Help! Exclamation mark.
Anyway, I think they're scared. They're a little nervous.
Here's the thing, though. If there's a civilization living inside the Earth, I would be scared about atomic weapons too, if I were them.
Yeah.
So apparently, Admiral Byrd has said that in his journeys to the South Pole, he found this big hole or entrance to another world, and apparently when he got home, he was threatened by the military to keep his mouth shut. So, of note, apparently you can buy this journal on Amazon.
How much is it?
I don't know. So if you want to read Admiral Byrd's secret journal, then you can buy it on Amazon. Maybe it's on Prime. I don't know. This has widely been considered to be nothing more than a hoax, though. Yeah, Admiral Byrd Diary.
It is $22 on paperback.
And it is on Prime.
It is on Prime, yeah. You can get it used for $20.
The title is The Secret Lost Diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd and the Phantom of the Poles. So in December 2016, a huge anomaly was discovered under the ice in Antarctica, which scientists believe was the remnants of an asteroid that had struck the Earth in that spot. It's kind of like a big hole, big crater, which was an asteroid hitting it. However, conspiracy theorists think that it is the entrance to the hollow Earth instead of being the spot where an asteroid hit. So my question is, I mean, we already talked about this a little bit. If there are these people that live inside the Earth, why don't they come out?
Because they're scared.
But then I started thinking of, did you ever read that book, A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley?
I didn't.
Okay, well, basically, it's about these, like, this civilization where people live inside, like, underground. And, like, they mutate over time into these, like, monsters. And they can leave, but they're just so, like, conditioned into living there that they're scared to leave this spot.
Stockholm Syndrome.
I don't know about that. Well, I would recommend that book because it's actually really interesting. It's a classic, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. But, yeah.
Yeah.
The hollow Earth. The inside of the hot cocoa bomb.
They're scared.
You're scared.
They don't want to leave the inside.
So, as we conclude part 1, Ethan.
Yeah.
What do you think about any of these theories?
No.
Can you expand on that?
Sure. Nope. I mean, there's just no evidence. I mean, which is like tough to say because obviously the area is so little explored, and you know, even the exploration that's been done, who's to say how much they're actually telling us? If you want to say that, you know, the government's hiding things, so it's kind of just like to me it just feels like Antarctica is this big space that we don't know a lot about. So people are like, well, what if this was here? What if this was here? What if this was here? So I don't know. I just feel like none of it's really that viable because it's just like, well, you don't have any evidence. You're just saying things because I don't know. Why not?
I think it's a great environment for like conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, vagueness is great for
it's
conspiracies.
I mean, there are some really weird things about it, which I think are really cool, but I think it's just a really great home for conspiracy theories. Do I think that aliens have ever lived in Antarctica? No, but wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it be something?
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's definitely mysterious, and part 2 is also going to be real mysterious. We're going to get into some more really big theories, but so your conclusion on part 1?
Bad. There's no theory that piqued me, that made me think, maybe. No.
No?
None.
Okay. Well, that is the end of part 1. I hope you learned something about Antarctica or about penguins.
Yeah, macaroni penguin.
We probably won't talk about penguins in part 2.
You never know.
I don't think we will.
You never know.
Let us know what you guys think about these first set of theories. Do you think that aliens have currently or have ever lived in Antarctica? What do you think is under the ice? We're going to get into a little bit more, but I just want to hear your theories about what might be hidden in Antarctica, and maybe what of these theories you believe the most and why. So we will be back with part 2 of this in 1 week, and we got some more juicy Antarctica theories, and let me know how you pronounce Antarctica. We will see you guys in a week. Bye.
Bye.